Hello, my name is Philip Madison. I am a DBI2 student online. This is assignment 2 for course 1 on leadership. And the first question is on the fourfold ministry. Which one are you drawn to? Explain how and why. I am drawn to teacher pastor, probably more teacher than pastor. Why? Because I have a passion to teach people and share with people what I am learning as I study the Bible and as I am going through these courses in DBI1, DHT, and DBI2. I see so many people walking into churches spiritually limping and sitting and warming a pew and getting their ears tickled. And I want them to know the Bible. I want their minds renewed. I want them to know who they are in Christ, that they are a son or a daughter of God and a servant of man. And it is not being preached in very many churches. So this is something that is passionate of mine. I'm passionate about it. I am determined. And wherever given an opportunity to share with somebody, I will share with them. The other one is prophet. There have been times when I have had some prophetic words for people. Sometimes it has been edifying and encouraging, and sometimes it has been not so encouraging, maybe. Those ones have been difficult to share because I just didn't want to share them. But I did because I wanted to be obedient to the Lord in what I believe He was asking me to share. So I would share it in love, but in truth. And I didn't worry about how they would respond. I was more concerned about how I would share it. So the next question is, have you been given a vision or prophecy that rings true in your heart and you long to accomplish it? I have had prophetic words spoken over me a number of times in the past, but they have basically been general prophecies. Words of encouragement, words of edification. You're going to do great things for the Lord, which is all great things to hear, but nothing really specific, although I do want to do great things for the Lord. But that's more general than actually specific. Although there was something that happened to me a few weeks ago. I was sharing with an associate pastor that I've known for many years of a church that I used to go to. And I was sharing with him the things I was learning in DBI1 and 2 and the DHT and all that stuff, and talking about laying hands on the sick and they shall recover. I was quoting from Mark 16 on that. And his comment was, well, what if they don't get healed? And I didn't really have a good answer. I answered the best way I could, but he kept saying with a smile, what if they don't get healed? And I walked away from that conversation feeling like I did not answer him well enough. I didn't give a good enough answer to him. And it really bothered me for weeks. About a week ago, in the middle of the night, the Lord woke me up. And basically, I had a conversation with the Lord about that conversation and how it had bothered me. How would I answer somebody who asks that question? And the Lord speaking to me said basically, if you don't lay hands on the sick, you will have a 0% success rate. if you do lay hands on the sick, even if you have a 1% success rate, it's better than a 0% success rate. And then he said, and 1% will be 5%, will be 10%, will be 25%, 50%, 75%, 85%, 95%, 100%. So don't worry about what anybody says. Just lay hands on people and they shall recover. And it brought me to tears. I mean, I was weeping when he said that because I realized he's absolutely right. If I don't lay hands on people, it is guaranteed 100% failure rate. But if I do lay hands on people, even if it's 1%, it's 1%. It's better than 0. And it reminded me of something that John Wimber said many years ago when he was alive. He said faith is spelled R-I-S-K. And then it reminded me of something that I heard Curry Blake said, which was faith without the possibility of failure is not true faith. So all of these things combined just brought me to tears, and I thanked the Lord, and I was just overwhelmed. I mean, I was weeping. My wife asked me if I was okay because I woke her up. But anyways, that was an amazing moment of a vision for me, just that happened recently. So it was awesome. So the next question, have you been obedient in what you have been given? Have you fulfilled any of it yet? Well, in regards to that vision that I just mentioned, I am being obedient to the point where I don't care if somebody says, what if they don't get healed? I need to recognize that if I don't lay hands, it's 100% failure rate. If I do lay hands, even if it's 1%, even if it's 0.5%, that is far better than 0%. So I am going to be obedient in continuing to lay hands on people, to preach the gospel, to cast out demons. And, I'm in the process of fulfilling it right now. The next question, how will you pass it on to the next generation? That has been a big question for me because I'm not a big journaler. But I do realize that it does need to be passed on. My wife and I don't have kids, so I think in a way it's even more important that we somehow document what is going on in our lives, what will be going on in the lives of people we'll be discipling, what will be going on in the lives of these life teams. So I think it's important that we somehow document, whether it's by video, by photograph, by recording, by journaling. There's so many different ways now that you can document for the next generation. So it's something that I really need to sit down with my wife, and we really need to talk about it and pray about it and figure out what is going to be the best way for us to pass what we're learning, to pass what's going on in our lives, to pass what will be going on in our lives for the next generation. So to be continued on that. So thank you very much for letting me share.